Josh, how are you, buddy?
I'm a little tired. How about yourself?
A little tired. Hey, what do you think of that intro, man? Pretty hot stuff, right?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. First time on the radio for me, so thanks for having me on.
You're not too nervous, are you?
A little butterflies. At least I get to hide behind the keyboard usually. So
Yeah, well, we're gonna make you famous here, buddy.
all right, I appreciate it.
Josh and I worked together years ago at the Daily Journal. Before I went in a separate direction, as they might say.
Yeah, we missed you over there. It's been unfortunately those were the good days. We had 5-6 guys with staff. Now we're at the bare bones right now.
Yeah, we were rolling. Actually, I was on staff when we kind of came up with this idea for the Mat Pack to cover high school wrestling. You know, Pat Pagansky was big into wrestling back then when he was there, and that's really taken off. Talk about that following you guys have, with yourself and the reporters from the Courier-Post, and really some great coverage you guys do of high school wrestling in South Jersey.
But you should take a little more credit. You were a founder with Pat, my boss Tom McGurk. So, but yeah, it's surprising. I never really knew too much about wrestling, before I got to the Daily Journal. And, when you guys started it, you saw just this amazing, passionate fan base that I just don't think any other sport compares to. I mean, football obviously gets a lot of big headlines. People love basketball, but wrestling, I don't think there's a more passionate fan base in South Jersey. I mean, you can look at our Mat Pack Twitter feed or our Facebook page, and the amount of people that follow that religiously are just incredible. People wanting updates, not just match by match, but period by period.
Wow,
it's crazy. So the best, really, I think the best sports fans there are high school wise in South Jersey. I can't really I think wrestling fans definitely are the most passionate. I would have to say.
Now, what's the Twitter feed again, in case anybody hasn't heard about it, wants to follow what you guys are doing this weekend at Districts?
Twitter feed's at the Mat Pack. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/the Mat Pack online. Apparently, someone got the Mat Pack before we actually got that way back when, so we're the Mat Pack online.
Gotcha. Tell us about this weekend. I cover mainly Cape Atlantic League schools here along the shore with Glory Days magazine, so I don't get to see too many of those schools out by Vineland and Delsea and Millville and all those schools. I try to keep some tabs on some of those guys, but Delsea, obviously one of the top teams in that area. You're heading out there today, District 31, I believe it is. What are you looking for today?
I'm actually passing by your old digs right now.
Oh, nice. Out there in Malaga.
Out there in Malaga. But yeah, I'm just passing there now. But District 31, we're actually quadruple staffing here, our wrestling coverage today. I've actually, before I got last week, before I became a official member of the Mat Pack, I was a District 32 guy myself. But I'm on my way to 31, where obviously Delsea, Buna, Kingsbury are the big teams. We got Mark Tribble, another Mat Pack guy. He's at 29. Four top Mat Pack teams: Clearview, Paulsboro, Gateway, and West Thetford. We've got Tom McGurk, my boss, and then the founder. He's at Collingswood today with Collingswood and Hatfield. We got Matt Silva, another Daily Journal sports writer. He's at Seneca. He's at District 27 with Seneca, Cherry Hill West, and Eastern, among others.
Nice. So you guys got it all covered. Tell me about a story you had. I believe you posted yesterday on a couple of brothers from Buna Regional, the La Fortes brothers. I didn't get a chance to read the story yet, but what a great inspiration these guys are. They lost their mother in December and are kind of really dedicating the postseason to her. Talk about those young men a little bit.
Yeah, these two kids, I've known them now for a few years now, and they lost their mother in a tragic bus accident, unfortunately, in December in Pleasantville. And, they took some time off from wrestling, and obviously it can't be easy. But wrestling is such a huge part of their lives. Their father, his name's David, was a 5-time European champion during his high school days. He wrestled apparently all over the continent. And, wrestling, he really instilled a passion for the sport for these kids. And it's interesting that their mother actually was never a fan of wrestling. She always thought they were going to get injured. They actually said, specifically, she hated that they wrestled, but they also said that their mother loved them, and all she wanted was them to be happy, and she knew how important wrestling was to them, and that's why it was so important for them to finish the season and dedicate it to her. They've got tattoos honoring her on their left forearms, and really beautiful, and you just got to pull for
Yeah, definitely. As a high school reporter, those are the kind of stories you love to work on. Kids overcoming some challenges and some personal difficulties in their lives. What's that like for you when you get to work on a story like that? I mean, you probably could go on for 3,000-4,000 words. You got to keep it to somewhat manageable amount there for the newspaper business. But what was that like? Just working on that story and talking to all those people involved.
I actually do write a little long, so my bosses probably agree with you that I need to shorten some things up. But, working on those kind of stories, you just don't want to mess up. Obviously you never want to mess up anyways, but those are the stories you really want to get right. I spent, a good hour with those kids and their father, speaking to them and talking to them. It's hard. Sometimes kids open up. Sometimes they kind of shut down a little bit. It just depends on who they are. These kids, they opened up about a very tough situation, and you commend them for that. It's not easy to do, and they made it easy on me, and I just hope I did that proud by what I wrote, because that's what's important to me. I never want to write something like a story like that and disrespect or not put my forth my best, because those are the stories you really want to make sure you nail 100%.
We're talking with Josh Friedman, sports reporter at the Daily Journal in Vineland. Josh, take me through your career a little bit. I was on staff at the Daily Journal when you were just starting out, just out of Syracuse University. And, when you're a young reporter, you might think, this is just a stop on my journey to the big time. And you've sort of settled in here in South Jersey. You got married. You're expecting a child this summer. Congratulations, by the way, you and wife Kelly. And it just seems like you've really taken to South Jersey. I know you're a West Coast guy by birth. You grew up out there on the West Coast in the Seattle area, and came east to Syracuse to go to college, and somehow landed in South Jersey. And is it kind of starting to feel like home for you?
Yeah, I'm fortunate that I have a wife and a family who her family has been great to me, and I'd be lying if I said the plan was to be here, for this long. When I got hired at the Daily Journal back in 2007, right out of school, I kind of expected to be here about 2 years. And I figured I'd move on. And, with the business the way it is, sometimes that's not as easy said than done. But, I've been treated great. And like I said, I was fortunate to meet my wife, and I miss my family quite a bit. I've been gone for, accounting school. I've been away from my family for about 12 years now, so it's not easy. But I've got a wonderful wife, and her family has really welcomed me and has made me feel at home. I live in Egg Harbor now, and I really enjoy it there. We've got a house, like you said. We're expecting a baby girl in July, and I'm here for the long run right now. She's got a wonderful job, and I don't want to take her away. So, this is really feeling like home, and I'm welcomed by so many people. And you're a friend of mine. You welcome me, and it feels good being here.
Talk about Delsea a little bit. We've tried to keep track of them a little bit. Obviously one of the best teams in South Jersey the last couple of years. What are you looking for out there? Greg Sawyer does a great job out there with that squad. How many district champs do you think they'll get today? And what's the buzz around that district today?
Well, Delsea's obviously our top team in the Map Pack team, so they'll have a few district champs. But their strength was depth. They won a lot with depth. They've got some really talented kids, but they don't have maybe the a ton the crazy amounts of top end talent. They're going to win a few titles. Billy Janzer at 160 certainly is a huge favorite. Brad Dobzhansky's the top seed at 170. He's the little brother. Brian Dobzhansky was a two-time state champ, and obviously pitches for the St. Louis Cardinals in their organization. Chris Jacinto at 106 is the favorite. So they'll win a few, but there's going to be a lot of good matchups here. 106 for Cinto and Novos Jose Santiago should be interesting. The one I'm really looking forward to is at 152, where Buna's Mason Bressel and Delsea's Lorenzo Rosario are the 1 and 2 seeds, and those two have had some wars the last 2 years. I believe Rosario won the districts last year. Bressel beat them in the regions, and then Bressel beat them close this year at the Robin Left Classic at Southern. So those two have had some just great battles. So I think that's going to be the big final to watch at 152 if those two make it all the way.
Yeah, Nick Costco's over here nodding his head. He's a former Egg Harbor Township wrestler, sophomore at Rutgers. He's really into the wrestling scene too, so he knows all these names, and he's nodding his head like yeah, that's going to be a big match. What do you think of that one, Nick?
Oh, it's huge because I remember the two went at it last year, and obviously Rosario got the title. Then Bressel beats him in the region tournament, then Bristol ends up winning a region title, and then I remember Bristol when he was a freshman. I was still in high school. Actually, he was a JV wrestler, and he was pretty good then. Now it's turned into one of the bigger rivalries around here, and the two of the best wrestlers around the area.
What do you want to ask Josh out there? He's going to District 31 at Delsea. Got any questions for him about those guys out there?
Just thinking, who's going to take the team title out there? I mean, I would assume Delsea, but I would think Buna has a chance to really possibly overtake Delsea in the team standings.
I think Delsea's a little too deep for that. Buna made a heck of a run at Delsea last year in their first year at District 31. Buna certainly has a chance, but I think Delsea's just got too much depth. They're so strong top to bottom. Every weight class they've got someone who can get at least a win or two at districts, if not win a title. So I think Delsea's a pretty heavy favorite. Just based on how many great kids they have. They're the deepest. I believe they're the deepest team in South Jersey. So.
Josh, real quick before we let you go, talk a little bit about Jake Maxwell. Here's a kid who kind of came out of nowhere in the States last year, and could be a guy who ends up on the podium at Boardwalk Hall. How's he been wrestling this year, and what do you expect out of him in districts?
Well, he was on the podium last year too. He was our coverage area. He made the deepest run in our coverage area.
That's right. What, he finished sixth?
Yeah, sixth in the state, and he's the second seed at 170. Which is really maybe the most competitive bracket here at Delsea today. Obzansky, as I said, he's our top seed. Jake Maxwell's the 2, and then Millville's Keith Mahoney is a very, very strong wrestler. It's the 3 seed. Those are 3 really good kids who could all make states. Jake's a great wrestler. He's had some ups and downs this year. He's been kind of had a target on his back, but he's a tough kid, and he certainly can win both this district, and he can win a district and region title, and he can certainly make another run at states. It's not easy though. 170 is a tough bracket, both in districts and in regions. There's going to be some good competition for him. So if he makes it back to the podium, he'll certainly have earned it. That's no doubt about that.
Good stuff, Josh. Appreciate you joining us for a few minutes, and enjoy your day out there at Delsea.
Thanks so much, Dave.
All right, thanks, Josh. Have a good weekend.
You too.
That was Josh Friedman, sports reporter for the Daily Journal. And